Look who's back. It's Tom Taylor. Welcome back to Word Balloon. Dude, I am, much as I said to Nicola, normally I'd hopefully see you in San Diego. So thank God for video. It's great to see it.
Hooray. It's good to see you too, man.
And, dude, I'm so excited for you. Good Lord. That ridiculous avalanche of success right now. Well-deserved. And don't get me wrong. But seriously, it is so terrific that everything is kind of happening at once, not only between DC, but also, God, this is amazing for Seven Secrets. I mean, what a great response for the Boom Book.
Yeah, no, couldn't be more excited about that. It's it's kind of, we were hoping for it, I'm not gonna lie, but then watching that news filter in and hearing that we're their biggest launch of all time for creator owned, we're very, very excited. I know Daniele, when he heard the news, didn't sleep at all that night, which, that's what you want for your co-creator. You want them
absolutely, man.
Like it's Christmas, it's great.
Absolutely. It's amazing. And now is Daniele, is he or she local?
He's in Italy.
He's in it. Okay. Cause De Nicolo. And I wasn't sure if it was Danielle or Daniele. So
good to Daniele. And so he and I have been doing press. Me in Australia, him in Italy, trying to coordinate with American press and work out exactly what time to do that. It's been, lots of fun.
Oh my God, I can't imagine, because I mean, I know, the difference between American and Australian time zone. So Italy. I mean, no, it's not a little closer. It's a little further away.
Yeah, so it's at the moment it's kind of the middle of their day. So
okay.
I'm happy to do the start of the night kind of stuff like this at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. and I'm awake then anyway, so why not?
Well, and that's the other thing that truly, I mean, not only for our talk, but for Mainframe Comic-Con, which you're doing this weekend. Yeah. I'm like, okay, figure out what the best time is for Tom. And then you told me that, you're really working overnights and you're not to bed till sunrise or so.
Yeah, no, especially now, sort of during the pandemic, because the kids are home. So I don't get anything done during the day. It's just impossible. They always want something. So I tend to sleep most of the day, and they do school stuff, but they'll always come down here and bug me if I'm working. So I just go, well, I'll work all night and I'll get up and I'll hang with you guys and, eventually do dinner and binge something, play a game, and then get you to bed and then get back to work at sort of 11 o'clock at night.
Bendis, I know, had that schedule for the longest time when his kids were little. How young are your children?
They're 10 and 14, so not that
okay.
Little. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Old enough to,
want and how are they, are they going to start the semester fall, homeschooling still and everything?
Yeah, it's already Australia's time is different. So we our holidays are over Christmas. We get about a month then, so they've had a couple of weeks off, but that's about it.
Got it.
Lockdown over here completely with curfews, and we're not allowed to travel more than 5K, which is about 3 miles for you guys. And
wow.
We're not allowed out before 5 a.m. or after 8 p.m. And we're mandating it.
I know it's restrictive, Tom, but as I'm sure you've noticed globally, that's kind of the way to handle this thing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
meanwhile,
it's difficult, but the numbers were going up and up and up, and we had to do something, and this is what had to happen. And we saw the success with New Zealand when they did the same sort of lockdown procedure, and that's what we're going for.
Absolutely, man. And believe me, I'm frustrated as hell here in Chicago, just from a national standpoint. I mean, our governor and our mayor are trying to do the right things as far as restrictions, but I just heard this week that the mayor literally stopped a beach party herself. Right. Like on Lake Michigan and stuff. And it's like, go home.
Go home, yeah.
So, well, anyway, things we can control. Let's talk about Seven Secrets. This is terrific. I really appreciate the preview you gave me. Does it come out Wednesday?
Yeah, it comes out this Wednesday.
Wow.
Started, yeah.
And it's already sold out. I don't know if they were able to rush.
Yeah. We're getting a second printing already and variants on second printings and all sorts of stuff. Just people are really excited about it, which is great. I mean, it's a quality book with very, very good art and great energy and great characters and people you fall in love with straight away and miss straight away because it's me, so I torture people freely.
You do right now. We'll talk about that. Absolutely, man. My God.
But we couldn't be more excited at the success of this launch. It's just it's great.
It's excellent. It's I love great international intrigue stories.
Yeah,
And that's clearly what we're looking at here. And it really is this kind of secret global conspiracy, secret society, 7 briefcases around the world that, if they're exposed, could change the nature of the world, and not for the better, apparently.
that's right. Yeah, no, that's exactly right. I mean, some of them, maybe they do change the world for the better, but we don't know because they're secret. But yeah, it's 7 secrets, that words, weapons, and ways and worse, that could change the world fundamentally, and the sort of the society that are there to protect these cases and these secrets, and then another group that wants to expose them or use them for their own nefarious ends.
And a young child is born in the first issue that
Right.
plays a pivotal role in the story.
Yeah, Casper, who we see, we see him born in the first issue, but we never, that's all we see of our actual protagonist. He's the narrator, but that was a strange decision. So we don't meet our main character in the first issue. So okay, we'll go with that, Tom.
Well, but I kind of like the mystery of it, and again, it kind of obviously sets up. You were kind enough to send me issue 2, so people won't be disappointed, and you get right to the story with Casper and all. But it's I mean, again, you're doing a lot of world building in that first issue too.
Yeah, look at the sort of scope in this, and how much it keeps going out and out and out. By issue 3, we start seeing more of the world and seeing how far this sort of society stretches, and we start seeing world leaders who aren't our world leaders, and we really get to build something really fun.
Well, and that's and especially right now, it's interesting. I'd read that maybe you started this story 7 years ago, and yet, unfortunately, again, I feel like the ugly American having to represent this point of view, but certainly the states are not being very cooperative globally right now. So I think that even adds to the complications you can play with in your own story.
Yeah, no, that's right. I will tell you that the president of America is very different in our book. We meet her, I think, in issue 3.
Okay, very cool, interesting. Well, here's hoping. It's a shame when our fictional presidents are better people than our real ones. What are you going to do? It happens. The pendulum swings both ways. We all have our fingers crossed for November. We'll see what happens in the real world. But
those two, trust me. Yep.
And also the heroes of the story beyond Casper that you set up and everything, they're going to be Casper's mentors, his teachers in a lot of ways.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. We've got Eva and Sigurd, who I'm not spoiling anything by saying that we find out they're his parents in the first issue, and they're not actually allowed to have a child. That's one of the starting complications of this whole series. But then there's all these other keepers and holders who train him and sort of become his pseudo parents and mentors and guardians as he goes along, and seeing how they all work together is one of the beautiful things of this series. Seeing Alex and Xing and all these characters who will have pivotal roles to play in his upbringing and what happens going forward.
It's a big sprawling story, and I really think it's. I mean, clearly from the first 2 issues, there's a lot of great action, and again, a lot of intrigue. And I always have loved foreign intrigue personally, and now it's great because I think we can tell international stories with better representation. Honestly.
Yeah, no, that's right. I mean, everybody doesn't look the same. It isn't all a bunch of white guys running around saving the world. It's it's actually the world represented in this book, or certainly what we aim to do with this book. And that's always been kind of one of my big beefs. It's when I first came into comics in particular. I've been writing in mainstream comics for about 11 years now, maybe a bit longer. And certainly it's been interesting to watch how comics have changed in that time. It feels like a short amount of time, but it's because we're actually getting more creators who aren't all look like me. And because we're getting editors and because we're getting companies who are steering towards that and realizing that there's a bigger market out there and not everybody looks like a certain brand of person.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. And you're absolutely right. And it's, just even in casual conversation, it's great to see. I always feel incredibly white and middle-aged when I say this, but honestly, I get it when I see someone of color or even just a different ethnicity really get excited about, hey, man, that's awesome. One of us, we're in the comics now. And it's like, Jesus, they always should have been in everything. And I mean, we'll talk about your Suicide Squad lineup as well, which is a very interesting and diverse group. But yeah, no, I think it's terrific, and like you said, I mean, it's only beneficial, and honestly, from a crass financial standpoint, it's like there's a whole untapped market that you could really play to. Why not?
Yeah, and look, it's something that the book markets realized a bit quicker, and certainly the YA market realized a bit quicker, and comics, in mainstream comics in particular, and the big two are going, yep, we're there now.
So, how many issues for Seven Secrets? Seven.
Seven Secrets is ongoing.
It's an ongoing book. Oh wow, interesting. Okay,
it's very, very rare for a creator-owned, but that's partly because of the early success of it as well. That it was literally, Tom, yep, all those plans you have, put them in place. We're doing this, which is really exciting to have that freedom to tell the story you want to tell.
So did you have a thought of, all right, if sales weren't there, we can wrap in 6, we can wrap in 8, 12?
No.
Really good for you, man.
The story's way too big. The layers of this, there's secrets upon twists, and there's things that I'm still revealing things to the publisher. I'm still revealing things to Daniele, to the co-creator. I let him know one of the big secrets that I've held on to for months. Going, hey, by the way, this is this. He's like, what? And those are things that I'm planning to reveal in like 3 years. Not now. We want a saga here. We want a Wicked and Divine. We want a book that runs for a very long time and makes people very happy, and they follow along with our characters.
That's awesome. From a market standpoint, Tom, and all the stuff that happened in the spring with Diamond, DC also leaving Diamond and stuff. I was just talking to Rod Rice the other day, and talking about how Brazil gets its American comics. How are American comics? How are the monthlies distributed to Australia?
Same thing. We've got comic stores in every major city.
Sure.
And we actually get ours. We usually get our comics a day early, so they come out Wednesday here, but which is still your
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay.
But obviously, it's been more difficult during this, and particularly our comic stores trying to get DC Comics and working out how to do that, and shipping and things like that's been difficult. And then you throw in, I don't know whether you realize, but there's a global pandemic at the moment.
I've heard.
I just slipped past you, but yeah, that's presented its own challenges as well. So I mean, Melbourne, where I live, is closed at the moment. Every retailer basically.
Yeah.
So that makes it really difficult.
Well, before a couple of weeks ago, when I was talking to Nicola, things look good in Australia and everything, and or about a month or so ago. And honestly, man, no, this virus is relentless. It really is.
Yeah, no, it sort of came out and hit our state out of nowhere. It was really, we watched the numbers rising a bit, and then suddenly, we were talking 20 a day, and then suddenly it was up to 700, and we were like, okay, now we need to shut down and close everything again and get back to where we were.
Are you in an urban area?
I'm sort of suburban. Yeah.
Suburban, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so sort of 25 minutes away from the city. Yeah, but it's kind of everywhere. We're fairly small. It is everywhere. It was my kids. Some kids are still in schools, just like any kids who work with, their parents are emergency workers, or they have to be working basically. And my son's high school was shut down yesterday because they had a case there. So that's
wow.
Yeah.
And this is again Southern Hemisphere versus Northern Hemisphere in terms of weather. This is your winter, right?
Yeah, it's winter here. But it started during the summer, so it hasn't seemed to make a single bit of difference.
Very interesting, man. No, I understand. And also, how much is an American single issue comic in the Australian market?
It's different at the moment. Like a couple of months ago, the US dollar, Australian dollar was 55 cents to the US dollar, and we're now up to 71 cents or 72 cents because the American dollar's been going down, and the Australian dollar's been going up in response.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
So are they more expensive? Are they, are the
American so they're more expensive, but they're about, at the moment they're about 2/3. So, 2/3 of an American.
So 2/3 higher the price?
About a third higher the price.
A third higher. Okay, so like maybe $6, like for a single issue, something like that.
$7 for a single.
Or $7. Okay, yeah. No, honestly, because I remember, God damn, it's been 20 years now. That every time I think of it, when I went to Amsterdam, and it was prior to the European Union, and they were still using the guilder, and the guilder was like two guilders to every US dollar, and I would like see CDs. Because even this was like the beginnings of, the MP3 era and stuff, and people were still selling CDs, and they were going for like $40 or $30 as opposed to 20 here in the States. So so I find that again, and also again, it's out of our control, all of us. I mean, really, but I really do wonder what the ceiling is, and it's so. I mean, every 10 years we wonder that for a monthly comic magazine. That said. It really is getting expensive. And I mean, I remember when I was in college, $20 would buy me a nice stack of comics. And now they buy you 4. Yeah. And it's like, all right,
I know a lot of people who shifted to trades, or a lot of people who are getting their comics digitally in floppies and then buying trades. I buy trades, and all my kids buy trades, but we still support stores. We say, okay, where the store needs us this week, come on, kids, give me exactly what you want, and we'll go out and buy $200 worth of trades, And that's just what we do.
I understand. Well, we don't all have that great deep animation money that you're rolling in right now.
Oh, yeah. It's all cartoons. So much cash there. No, I make a lot more money from comics, I got to tell you.
Do you? Okay, I didn't know. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, animation always looks successful.
Well, you think of certainly the films, you think of the Incredibles and things like that and the money that they generate. But again, you're dealing with television animation.
The Hollywood accounting is very interesting. The writer of Men in Black has still not seen a residual check.
Well, before we get to the DC stuff, I am interested in what's going on with the Deep and your animation work and everything.
I can't tell you much at the moment. My smile's probably giving it away, but there is.
That's good to not hear.
There may be something going on. Obviously, we're at 3 seasons now. We have 52 episodes out there globally, about 140 countries or 160.
Wow.
Multiple languages, toys, t-shirts, party bags. It's quite a phenomenon. I know it's the #1 show across the UK. It's just grown and grown. It's very exciting knowing that. For me, who grew up on animation, who grew up on Silverhawks and Thundercats and Transformers and all of this, knowing that there are kids today who are watching it like I watched that it blows my mind. And look, I can't say anything categorically now. Someone will, say, Tom, no, bad. But work continues.
Excellent. How about on the merchandising side? Because hopefully that's something that is helping you out financially as well. Are there toys? Are there,
That's not really, that's not my area, if that makes sense. So
okay,
someone else handles that. That's kind of Technicolor's side, and I think things stalled there for a while. So we'll see. There were toys. They looked very cool, but we'll see what comes of it. I certainly would do well in Germany.
I would think water-based heroes are kind of inclined to bathtub toys and the like, and things and things you can fill up the sink and play with and stuff like that.
We had bath toys. We had very cool things that motored along by themselves, like the Rover, and I have them all sitting in my bathtub. It's the important thing. They made me happy.
Attaboy. Well, that's cool. That's fantastic. That's awesome, man. Did you guys have Hot Wheels down in Australia? The cars?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay. Honestly, since the shutdown, it's like, and I don't go for anything rare. But do you remember Corgi cars when we were kids?
Corgi cars.
Yes, Corgi. They were a little bigger and a little more heftier, kind of like die-cast metal cars. Right. And when I was a kid, they had the Batman, Adam West Batmobile. They had all the James Bond vehicles, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, crazy stuff like that. So I've been buying Hot Wheels, and again, not expensive ones. I mean, I think $20 is the most I've spent on one. And I wouldn't want anything rare, but they have, mentioning the Deep toys and stuff. They've got the Jetsons little hover car, and I bought an Aston Martin, a James Bond Hot Wheel and stuff. And I mean, so that's been my That's my little like, oh, let me relive my childhood in the back of my mind while we're dealing
Sure.
with all this nonsense.
I understand. Yeah, everybody has their cruxes during the pandemic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the little comfort food things we hold on to.
In
There it
fact,
is.
here's the Batman. It's the Bat Cycle from Batman
Number
Begins.
3. Yeah, is number.
Or I guess it was Dark Knight. Yeah, it was Dark Knight.
Right.
Actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty cool,
Very
man.
cool.
And yeah, that's just one of several dozen that I've picked up. I won't deny.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the car from the Stephen King movie Christine.
Nice.
The 57 Chevy.
You're happy to have that in your house. Yeah.
Well, I'll never be able to afford the real ones, so why not?
We're getting all these DCeaced action figures.
Go on.
They're terrifying. It's like I don't, technically I should, put this on a shelf next to the actual comics. It's just like, man, I don't want that sitting behind me while working away at night. It'll throttle me while I'm working. I know it will.
Yeah. It is. I'm glad to hear that the toy. I'm sure that statues are doing well in the toys. And it's a great story, but you're depressing the hell out of me. Killing these people are just.
I know.
Oh,
it's tragic.
It is.
So long as I know when I'm writing, if I'm tearing up while I'm writing, I know I'm doing the right thing. Yeah.
Oh, when Jonathan got it, Jonathan Kent, and I mean everybody. Good Lord, got in the current arc.
Do you mean actual Jonathan Kent? You mean Superman's dad?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was tragic. That was just awful. I felt pretty bad about that one.
Well, and even in the current story arc, when the kids come back to Earth to see what they can do, and Stephanie shows them in the Batcave the graves of Bruce and Dick and Tim.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh man. So, but I love this wrinkle to the new story that we're seeing the legacy characters.
Yeah.
Kind of claim their heritage, and it's interesting, Tom, because I'm supposing, given where Dan DiDio, and this is all me, and please correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But we all heard rumors about the fifth generation kind of taking over and stuff, and your story kind of is showing us a what if scenario with these very characters.
Yeah. Well, this was always my plan with this book before we'd heard any talk of that. So it was just one of those lucky things that we actually got to tell this story. And again, it's down to readers and retailers actually embracing it and buying it like crazy. And then we get to tell more story. And I always throw in extra bits just in case. I'll always drop breadcrumbs that I can pick up later in the hope that we get to tell more story. But we got rid of everybody in the Justice League and put other people in their place, including people like Mira instead of Aquaman, Dinah instead of Green Canary, like things that aren't so obvious. But it's just a lot of fun. And getting John and Damian as Superman and Batman and Cass as Wonder Woman.
Cass as Wonder Woman, yeah.
It's great.
And honestly, I love the last issue where Stephanie is looking like she's going to become Robin again. And I really love that kind of, as much as Damian, I'm sure, didn't love it. That great brother-sister moment where Stephanie hugs Damian and stuff, and like, look, I know, I'm really sorry this is happening and stuff.
He liked it. He had a cry. He got to release some emotion, and she was there for that. And if you're a fan of anything that it was done with her when she was Batgirl, and their relationship back then it felt like a lot of what I write. I believe fan service isn't a dirty hyphenated word. I'm a big believer in it, and trying to give the fans what they want or what they've been missing. Certainly things that that were taken away by continuity, by things that they couldn't see because of books going in different directions. So I like revisiting those sort of perfect points in time that readers remember really fondly, and then moving forward from there and seeing what else there can be. It's why I like bringing back Ted Cord and Booster Gold and stuff, and bringing these guys together and showing them at their best whenever I can.
Absolutely. And, and I love the way you're playing with Ted Cord in both books, really, also, we'll get to that in a second. But the other great thing, honestly, Tom, back when you started doing Injustice, I was very, certainly on social media, and when I would talk to you and I meant it, it's like, this is the best Justice League book that's being written right now. And it really was. And it's, obviously the parameters of the game afforded you to go back to classic versions of the characters. And certainly, with Superman going evil and the Justice League kind of splitting off, half going with Superman, half with Batman, it provided for different stories. But I mean, that's the thing. It just, I think in all these stories that you've been doing, it's really, it is good to feel that the DC universe, what you're telling fresh stories, but you're adhering to the classic tropes of these characters.
Yeah, well, I tell stories with the characters that I know the best. It was sort of an amalgamation of the eras that I love the best and the characters as I see them. And again, that's just about fan service. I'm a fan, so I'm just looking after myself, really. So whenever you find Superman and Batman in a room having a conversation, that's the conversation that I think they would have, as I know them. And I think for a lot of people, the thing about Injustice is, I think it came out right during New 52. And New 52 tried all these things, and some of it worked brilliantly, some of it wasn't so successful. But I wasn't telling the New 52 characters. I was telling that. I was telling stories of the characters that everyone knew really well. And I think that was one of the reasons it was embraced. And obviously we got a lot of that back when Rebirth came along. So that was, Tomasi's Superman was incredibly close to that. Again,
big fan of that. And Jurgens too, yes.
And Dan Jurgens as well, that's right. So I think that was one of the reasons it was so well embraced, because it was kind of comfort food, even though they were being torn apart in hideous ways.
No, I'm with you, absolutely. And I'm glad that they've decided to do this Year Zero story. I mean, well, tell me about it. How are they planning a game? Is there a Year Zero game along with the comic?
I can't say anything about a game at this stage, like at all.
God, I love these non-answers. These are great because I think people can read between the lines. That's fantastic.
Honestly, this was entirely because right at the sort of height of the pandemic, it became really obvious that people were having trouble getting to comic stores. And this was entirely about the fans. Like, I was way too busy to do this. But I started talking to DC, and they were saying, we want we want a digital first comic because people are having a hard time getting to the comic store. We want to support the comic stores as much as we can. We want to support retailers, but we want fans who can't leave their house, who can't get someone who can't order something in, to be able to access something that's affordable and entertaining and has great cliffhangers and is there, every couple of weeks. And so we started coming up with DCeaced Hope at World's End. And I said yes to that, and I started writing that. And then I received an email that said, Injustice, yes, we're trying to kill you. That was the subject line from Ben Abernathy, my editor. And because I'd proposed these two things, and they went with both, which was unexpected. Wow. Yeah, but that means that we have DCeaced Hope at World's End coming out one Tuesday, and then Injustice coming out the next. So every Tuesday will be one of those for 99 cents. So for fans, that's what it's about. It's about making something really easily accessible, affordable, and just there.
And I know that technically, because you're only dealing with maybe half a page digitally versus a full printed page, they're surprisingly full stories. They don't feel like shorter, you know what I mean? Shorter books.
Well, I tend to write about 15 pages and then slowly just tear 5 away, which is always difficult. But I always write much longer, and then I condense rather than trying to fill it up. Sort of thing. I'm a big believer in making sure people get their money's worth.
Well, yeah, you're succeeding, man. Because honestly, all right, yeah, because if it's 10 traditional comic pages, condensed and stuff, it doesn't feel like 10 pages. So I give you a shit ton of credit for the way you're writing, man. That's terrific. And yeah, I do. I was catching up, preparing to talk to you and stuff, and it's like, oh goddamn, wait a minute, this stuff is not only from last month but last week. I'm like, okay, and like you said, them being digital first and every other week and stuff like that. And also, I don't know what the other audience feels like, but obviously to accommodate that, you've got rotating artists. You can't have,
Yeah, but we've only got 2 on Injustice. We've got Rogue Antonio and Shan Tomei. Now I feel terrible. I should have looked up how to say that. And we've just got the two of them, and they complement each other really, really well. We started with Dustin just to do the opening chapter of DCeaced Hope at World's End, and Marco Failer's doing a whole lot of that now. In particular because he's so good with the Super Sons. He's just perfect at doing John and Damien and Cassie and Steph. So we sort of, as he drew it, we were like, yes, we need more of this. This makes us feel good. And we've got Carl Moster coming back, who did DCeaced Unkillables. He's doing a single issue, which is a story I've wanted to tell since, like, we almost told this story back in the original DCeaced, and it's DCeaced with the Super Pets.
That's outstanding.
Yeah, so I've wanted to do that for a long time, so I'm glad he's coming back to help us with that one. That's
wow.
Yeah, in a few weeks.
So Beppo, Comet, maybe
it's got. I almost don't want to give it away. It's got Ace.
Okay.
It's got Detective Chimp, and I won't give you any beyond that because.
All right, fair enough. I understand. No, that's good, buddy. Absolutely. Don't spoil for me. That's all right. But that's terrific, man. No, I do. I love the Super Pets, and it's great to see Detective Chimp working with them. That's fantastic.
I love Detective Chimp. He's one of my favorite characters to write, and he can talk to animals, and people always forget that. So he's a perfect one to be there.
It's going to be interesting to see how you handle narrative with animals, and if they are speaking or if they're, and again, I look forward to seeing it. I don't want you to answer that question. That's good. Man, that's amazing. That's terrific, dude. And seriously, it's so great that you've kind of got your own corner of the DC universe, and you're, and also without the restrictions because of the nature of both Injustice and DCeaced, that you kind of do whatever the hell you want.
That's right. Yeah, they've handed me 2 universes, and I just have to remember who's still alive in each. That's the tricky one.
I can appreciate that. You've written a lot of books, certainly in the Injustice world, and really very quickly in DCeaced as well.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. No, honestly, man, and I the dread of DCeaced, and just even the way it started with that, Paul of the Justice League won the battle, but they don't realize they lost the war, and then just the way that the world just slowly decayed after that, and Captain Atom blowing up, and just some of these ideas, and it's just like, wow, man, Jesus.
Yeah, no, it had a lot of fun on that book, and continue to. I mean, we killed Batman in issue 1. That stamped what this book was going to be. It was don't expect anything, just hold on and enjoy the ride.
And that's that's awesome. And also in Injustice, going back to year 0, man, I miss the Justice Society, and it's great to see them back. I love the designs changes. I love the way Wildcat looks, and I'm glad that he and Batman had kind of a almost Guy Gardner Batman sort of fight and everything at the beginning there. I think I'm a huge boxing fan. So Ted Grant's my guy. He's always been my guy.
He's brilliant. Yeah.
So and I do. I love that. Again, that they're vital, even though they're in their middle age or whatever it works out to be in DC Universe time. Yeah.
Well, look, Ted's still the heavyweight champion, no matter what. No matter what era it is, he will always beat anyone at boxing. It doesn't matter how old he is. It's that simple, and that includes Batman.
Yeah, I remember when Darwin wrote New Frontier, and I got to talk to him about it and stuff. And I'm like, and as much as I love Muhammad Ali, it's like it was kind of cool that Ted Grant even beat a young Cassius Clay in the DC universe.
Yeah, New Frontier is such a wonderful book. As you might be able to tell that I'm a bit of an Elseworlds fan. So so those books, New Frontier and Kingdom Come, and all these books that kind of told me what I could do in these universes, informed that. They're very near and dear to me.
But as it's fun, as I'm sure you've seen on social media, a lot of us fans are like, so when are you going to get a chance to write, and would you want to write the regular DC Universe versions of Batman, Superman, and the like, Justice League, Justice Society? I'd love to see you on a proper JSA book. Not that this isn't a proper JSA story.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, there are certainly a lot of key characters that I'd like to play with. Obviously, I've got to do Earth 2. I've got to write some Batman, Superman, some Green Lantern, and writing Suicide Squad now, which is all in continuity.
Absolutely.
And that's really fun. But look, there we are. DC and I are talking about some potential things right now.
Okay.
But I have a very, very, very full plate at the moment between television and Boom and Marvel and DC. It's there's a lot going on.
Yeah, we do have to talk about Marvel too. Two things before we get to Suicide Squad. Are you doing panels for the DC Fandom thing that's coming up in 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think I'm doing about 3 panels for that.
Great.
It'll be lots of fun.
Looking forward to that. Of course, as I said, you're going to be on Mainframe Comic Con this weekend, and
Yes.
I'm glad we were able to arrange that. And then I'm looking forward to watching that panel. I think they hooked you. I don't think I get to do you on your panel, unfortunately, which bums me out.
Ooh.
I know.
Okay.
I hope that's not true. We'll see. I gotta ask the guys because some things are like, oh, can you do this? And I'm like, yeah. And I think the other hosts are really good hosts, and they're Collider, which is a great YouTube channel that covers pop culture, and no, they're big comic fans. And I know, like, my buddy Rob Burnett really wanted to interview Howard Chaykin, and they're like, "Do you mind if Burnett does Chaykin?" I'm like, "I know how much Burnett likes Howard." I'm like, I talked to Howard enough. It's all right,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm really glad we're having this conversation. I'm like, if I could talk to Tom before,
experience. Yeah,
and also, man, and well, yeah, Howard's nuts. But if I'm like, if we have the chance to talk before and we get to promote the show, I'm like, that's cool. I'm good with that. So, Suicide Squad, Jesus Christ, man, this is honestly, I've always loved the book, but this really is, I'd have to say, no disrespect to other runs, but not since John Ostrander and company and Luke McDonald were doing the book have I been this excited about the book, because I think all the characters. How many of these characters in the book now have you created?
I don't know, but most of them.
Okay, I thought so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That was one of the things I went in with originally. So
that's excellent, because seriously, man, I mean, I've got a list here that I'll ask you about, and I know that I'm not sure if it comes out tomorrow or next week that the next issue is really going to go into Wink and the Airy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to their backgrounds. There's got to be
a
a connection to Black Condor in there or something for the Airy, if that hasn't already been expressed. I don't know. There isn't. Yeah. Wow, cool.
Yeah. I was writing the Black Condor in something recently, and I took him out, which is sad. But
that's cool. I think this is a great group of characters, but I do want to start with the two power brokers, Locke, and then of course we find out that Ted Kord is the power behind Locke.
Yeah,
and that's pretty interesting and devious. It seems like Ted Kord has suddenly become Max Lord in his old age.
Yeah, look, I can't talk about that too much. You know, obviously this is comics, so take everything with a grain of salt. The people on the internet who are furious with me, just wait, keep reading. That's how stories work.
Of course.
Yeah.
I can understand. I mean, yeah, I can see, and especially because the way they killed off Ted, the way you're using Ted in other books and everything, and just the love of Ted as Blue Beetle, that, I can see Ted Kord fans kind of being a little upset. But
that's right. But I have a lot of respect and love for this character, so hold on. Just keep reading.
He's got to have a plan. He's Ted Kord, for God's sake. I understand. No, I think it's really exciting. And Locke, man, he's a great. You thought Amanda was an asshole. It's like here comes Locke.
Well, we've shot him in the head now, so we don't have to worry about him anymore. Dead shot. Lived up to his name. It's over. Locke.
That's fantastic. That's excellent. I'm sure people love Osita.
Oh, completely. They really do. She's one of those ones we always hear about. It's that no nonsense, very tough, stands up to everybody, does what she feels is the right thing to do, and is very subversive. So we love her. Yeah,
no, and it's time that we've had a real, beyond Big Barda or Wonder Woman, a real powerhouse that physically is like a Bane or a Blockbuster, or or right. Solomon Grundy, or somebody of that stature. Yeah.
No, she's great. She's a really, really fun character to write, because you just know that in any situation she isn't going to back down.
So I'm looking at the list right now as we're talking. So there's the Airy, there's Wink, and we're going to learn about their story in a little bit. There's Deadly Six,
Yep.
Finn, who's kind of like Lagoon Boy in terms of, I'm
Yeah,
assuming,
it
the
would have been
same
like
race.
Doom Boy. Yeah, same race. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. And you got Osita. Now, is it thylacine? How do you say it? Thylacine?
Thylacine.
Like, it
Thylacine.
almost sounds like it's a prescription I should be taking every week or whatever.
Thylacine is. So, have you ever heard of the Tasmanian tiger?
No.
Okay, so in Tassie, which is Tassie. Sorry, very
No, but I'm
strange.
hip. I mean, I remember the character from Global
Tasmania.
Guardians, Tasmania, and Tasmanian Devil and everything.
Tasmania is, so you've heard of the Tasmanian Devil. So the Tassie Devil is kind of like that. It's a marsupial that tears the crap out of things, that eats meat. The Tasmanian tiger was a longer, like almost dog-like marsupial. Looks a bit more like a dingo with actual tiger stripes on it.
Wow.
Which basically we came along and killed farmers I think they were killed by about the 1940s or so.
Wow.
In Tasmania, depending on who you talk to, because there are still people who swear that they are alive and well in Tasmanian wilderness. And I know Paul Dini and Neil Gaiman and those two in particular are big fans of the thylacine and always talking about any time there's a sighting. But we wanted, because thylacine, the character is indigenous, because she's an Aboriginal, we had Aboriginal friends that I knew who came in and, you know, we worked this character up with them, talking to them, saying, is this appropriate? So at one stage she was going to be called Dingo. And they said, oh, no, the dingo's, you know, that's nothing. The dingo's only been around in Australia for 7,000 years. And to Aboriginal culture, that's no time at all, because they've been here for 40,000 years. So the thylacine was on mainland Australia, and they were able to show me rock art from the far north of Australia of the animal drawn up there, so proving that it was on the mainland and stuff for you know, tens of centuries, which is really exciting. And so that's where she came about.
That's excellent, man. And again, I mean, like, you know, Zebra Man seems to be a joke, but he's obviously very formidable, and I like him a lot. I think he's a cool character. I mean, that's the thing, man. Truly, much like as I remember previous incarnations of the Teen Titans and stuff like that, you've got that core with Harley and Deadshot, but now you've introduced all these different characters to be the new wave of the squad and everything. Yeah. And I think it's a great combination of new and old. And no, honestly, like, all right, so Chaos Kitten, what's her deal?
Chaos Kitten, just an incredibly competent fighter. Can kick the ass of anybody in the room.
Okay.
You know, and looks brilliant and has a great name. And has a hat that says Nope. She's, you know, instantly great.
No, it's great, and truly, you're introducing all these amazing characters in there, and a lot of them are people of color, which again I think is terrific. Honestly, man, and then truly, forgive me for being the armchair quarterback telling creators how to do things, but I just think, and you're already doing it, that's the right way to introduce new characters, is having them rub against established characters, and not you know, immediately like, okay, no, like unfortunately, like Marvel, I think with a lot of the legacy characters, the heroes were being kicked out of their own book. And while I appreciated the new characters, and I do think they're interesting and exciting, it's like, if, you know, I understand the expectation if you bought an Iron Man book that you want to see Tony Stark and not Riri Williams, or if Riri Williams is going to be there, Tony's got to be part of the story. I always say Jason handled it the best, having Jane Foster Thor along with original Thor, and that they were sharing the book, you know?
Yeah, that was a great run. Yeah, it's one of those, it's tricky to get that balance right, but I think part of the joy of being a comics fan is seeing the characters that you know and love, and then when these new characters come along, it is great to see them alongside them and seeing how they interact and see how they challenge older ideas. And that's certainly something we're seeing here. But in a big way, the reason we created these characters, and they're called the Revolutionaries, is because when I came onto the book, I wanted the book to be able to live up to its title. I wanted anyone reading this to not feel safe issue to issue, to look at this book and go, okay, I love this character, but I know that they're going to be safe because they're in the movie, you know, and we didn't want that with this. I remember I said to them, I'd like to kill so-and-so in the first issue, and they said, oh, you can't really, because it's one of our, you know, it's a minority character and we don't have enough. And I said, great, well, I'll write you 10 new ones. They're like, oh, cool, do that. You can do that. Great. and that was kind of the genesis of it. It was obviously there needs to be better representation here, and there needs to be a real fear for readers to be reading this book and go, I don't know that this character is going to make it to the next issue, and a lot of them haven't.
Right,
But
absolutely.
at the same time, a lot of them, we're already planning futures for them beyond Suicide Squad, which is great because they're characters that people have embraced.
And I'm not surprised. And again, no, I think a lot of the characters you've introduced have been great. I love Floyd's story as well, Deadshot. And man, I'll tell you, that Batman issue was terrific, and I love that. As he said, good conversation.
Yeah, no, it's weird that all of us have fallen in love with Floyd over this. He has a great solo. I was always a fan of him from Secret Six, from Gail Simone's run.
Absolutely.
And seeing what she did with him. And I sort of took that character directly from there. That's how I kind of see him now. And then just giving him a bit more heart and a bit more honor, and desperately having him want to get back to his daughter, and having him get back there in the last issue. And finding out and giving, and Zoe is now Live Shot. So she's the next one, and we are planning to play with that in the future.
Well, I certainly was worried in that issue as she was in the line of fire that I'm like, oh man, you're not going to kill Floyd's daughter, are you? Jesus Christ. I mean, it's like, that would really, and of course it's great to have her in the field, because now obviously that just gives him another level of fear. I mean, that's, again, I agree. I think, and also previous iterations as well it's interesting how Secret Six in a lot of ways was the successor to Suicide Squad. And now it's kind of rolled around again, that you're taking it back and finding inspiration from Secret Six. So I think that's terrific.
It was the character work that Gail did there. It was that these characters, despite coming from different places, different backgrounds, different goals, there was genuine love between the characters. Like Bane and Scandal. Like the two of them together were just beautiful. And so we try to find things like that in this as well. It's a great template for Suicide Squad. And so, we wanted to work that in a similar way. So that's certainly why I went to that early on. I remember rereading some of that before I even wrote a word of Suicide Squad.
We're on the same wavelength, Tom, because as I told you, I just talked to Nicola and Gail last month, and truly the Scandal Bane relationship is one of my favorite things about Secret Six, and especially that amazing scene when Bane was going through withdrawal from the Venom, and Scandal wouldn't let him go, and literally was staying in bed with him. And I wondered, because it was, I as far as their relationship, and art is subjective, and to me, it was unrequited love on Bane's part, that he would never violate any boundary that Scandal was never comfortable with, and that Scandal didn't want this relationship. But as Nicola and Gail explained to me, their intent was more of a father-daughter thing. Yeah, and that's fine, and I accept that. And again, nothing romantic ever happened, but it just seemed to me that Bane was just such a protector, and just again, to me, it was even more than father-daughter on his part. But just again, that there was this really tender scene of her taking care of him, when he needed her.
Yeah, and look, that's Nicola Scott to a T as well. She can deliver on those scenes, and that's why I think that's the other reason why Suicide Squad works so well. The reason that everyone loves these characters is because we have Bruno Redondo, because we have Danny Sempere. These two guys between them, Bruno. There's a reason why Injustice and Injustice 2 was so successful, and that was a large part of that is because Bruno does sort of Kevin Maguire faces. He has these expressions that every character has this nuance, and you fall in love with them. And they breathe on the page, and Nicola's got that as well.
It's the acting. You're absolutely right. It's the ability to convey the acting with their art. And you're right. And Bruno, Kevin, and Nicola absolutely achieved that. So I get it. It's outstanding, man. It's a very exciting series. And I could say that about all your DC books right now. I think I'm riveted by them. And I have to say, at the end of the day, I'm probably am more of a DC guy than a Marvel guy. And I love my Marvel favorites and everything. But yeah, I'm really happy with your corner of both the Elseworlds of the DC universe and the proper regular universe as well. So yeah, keep up the great work. It's outstanding.
Yeah, having a great time. And look, next is before I forget, the next thing is Hellblazer Black Label with Derek Robertson, which is just that excites the hell out of me. It's Derek Robertson, and it's
Yeah.
Like, you just I can't believe they've never been together before.
Constantine and Derek Robertson, sure.
That's right.
And you're absolutely right. No, that does make perfect sense. How far away is the Black Label series, or has it already started?
It's
and I
the
missed
first week of September.
Okay, great. Next month. Okay, great.
Yeah. So
just a couple weeks.
That's right. Yeah,
so what can you tell us about that series?
Not much. I can tell you that it begins with a billionaire falling out of the sky and being impaled on a church spire and wearing angel wings. And this has happened before. Basically, it's the 1% trickling down in England, and John investigating that. But it goes all the way back to his childhood. It's a lot of fun.
Will we see other, horror characters popping up in the story?
No.
Okay, great.
This is great. Old school. For me, that sort of golden age of Garth Ennis and Jamie Delano. That's my John.
Okay.
Steve Dillon. And so that's kind of the sort of golden age of Vertigo for me. Is I just wanted to write a story that was set then, and that's kind of what this feels like.
Dude, classic Hellblazer. I agree with you. I've Jamie Delano and Azzarello and Garth and all these people that have written such exceptional Just John Constantine stories. I agree with you. When Alan created the character, it was intriguing enough having him in Swamp Thing, but it is so great that he graduated to his own series. And really, man, is it Matt Ryan, right? I think is the actor that plays him in live action. I'm meeting him, and also just I'm so happy that the powers that be recognized, even though that the initial TV show only made it through half a season, that it's like, no, this guy's special, and it would really be great to let him keep playing Constantine as much as he can, and for him showing up not only in Legends of Tomorrow but also being in the cartoons as he's been. Yeah, it's like, and that's when I talked to him, was when they did the first Justice League Dark animated movie. And it's like, this is great that you're doing this. And he's like, I love this character. I'm really happy I get to do it. So it's a nice match. And yeah, man, no, I'm all for. I love the Black Label line. Everything I've read so far has just been exceptional. I'm excited for Kelly Sue and Phil Jimenez and what they're going to do with Wonder Woman and Hippolyta. And I missed the solicit, so I'm glad you mentioned that this Hellblazer thing starting in a couple of weeks. Something else to look forward to.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's kind of hard because we had Injustice launched last week, Seven Secrets launched this week, and then Hellblazer launched in 2 weeks. And I forget sometimes because I'm working on other things that nobody's even heard of yet, and so you need to remember. I think that's one of the difficulties with Diamond and everything that's happened. The solicitation is a little different now, and so I find it hard to keep up.
Wow. Yeah. No. And really, you're right in terms of, especially again with this tenuous relationship with DC and Diamond as it winds down. I know that internationally they still got a couple more months left and everything, but yeah, that's why I'm. It is what it is, and again, I'm happy to help get the word out if I am helping in any way. So maybe. Again, a lot of times I think the audience is a lot quicker than I am in terms of what's coming out. The Wednesday Warriors are definitely, more in tune. But Marvel, tell me, what are you doing right now in Marvel? What's going on?
At the moment, we're planning another big epic called Dark Ages, which we teased in the Free Comic Book Day comic. About 10 pages where Iron Man is on his way home and there's earthquakes rocking the world and we don't know what's going on. And he's suddenly hit by some green energy and all the lights go out across New York. Pepper's stuck in an elevator. His suit is slowly closing down. He calls Cap, says Avengers us, and he's gone. His suit loses power. He collides with a 747 crashing into New York, and a leg goes flying. luckily he's pointed at Stark Tower and he crashes there, and he says everything's gone dark, and that's where it ends.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is something brand new.
This is something brand new. So this is going to be another giant epic. Basically, Marvel came to me and said, well, they asked me what I wanted to do, and we had a few conversations about different books, and I said, look, I'd love to do a what if at Marvel. You know, it's my wheelhouse. Let me break your toys. That's what I enjoy. But also, I want to tell something that is a little bit more hopeful as well. So hopefully we will. And yeah, so we will. Dark Ages is, I think I'm not sure when it's slated at this stage, but I think it's next year. It's going to be,
Okay, next year. Wow, next year. Okay. Wow. Yeah. That's awesome, man. And have they announced an artist yet or no?
Oh man, that's another name I can't pronounce. It's Eben Chuelo or Iban, IBAM.
Okay.
And he did the 10-pager as well. And he's
very cool. Yeah. Wow. All right, and 12 issues, 6 issues, weekly. Who knows?
It won't be weekly. I hope that would break me at the moment. Yeah, look, it will be monthly. Whether could be a maxi series. We'll see as we go. It's still early days, but it has been announced because of that Free Comic Book Day special.
That's outstanding, man. That's amazing. Oh, and I'm really excited again. Good. It's an alternate universe, so all bets are off. Who knows?
That's right.
I'm such a fan of the original What If series, and I have Marvel Unlimited, and I can't tell you how many times, just to be nostalgic and stuff, I'll pick up that original run because I was a kid when it was coming out, and it just boom, boom, boom. Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four, and Bucky becoming Captain America back when it was a really novel idea. I mean, no disrespect to Ed, to Brubaker and everything, but yeah, oh my God, just interesting stuff, man, just left and right in those first 20 or so issues. And Conan in modern day walking around in that great story. So no, that's excellent, man, and that's very exciting. So Dark Ages from Marvel, very
it should be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Damn, that's great, dude. That's amazing. That's fantastic. I'm very excited for you. And again, isn't that great? I mean, this is like back 15 years ago when Kirkman kind of figured out the zombie angle and stuff like that. That you're like the alternate history angle guy. So
I'll take that.
Well, and it's a lot bigger. Again, it's not just one known thing. And that's why at first when I heard about DCeaced, I'm like, all right, another zombie book. We'll see how it is. But it's like, no, it's very different. It is not just that kind of.
I'll tell you two things. One, I don't like zombies.
Neither do I.
I'm not a horror fan at all. I like my entertainment happy and light and great escapism. And two, I've never read Marvel Zombies.
Honestly, other than I read the Ultimate Fantastic Four story, which I thought was fun. And I did read the first arc of Marvel Zombies. But then after that, I was like, yeah, that's enough. And I'm thrilled for Robert. I'm so happy as hell for Robert and for Charlie and for Tony.
And that's the thing. I read the first trade of Walking Dead basically because I'm friends with Tony. And I love the art, but I'm like, this is not for me. I watched the first episode and a little girl gets shot in the head at the end, and I'm like, I'm out. I'm done.
So
I'm a dad. I like watching this. So yeah. So people are like, what are you influenced by on this book? I'm like, nothing you'd think I am, because I don't watch any of it. Yeah.
Well, that's why I'm interested in how you categorize Hellblazer, then, if not horror.
Look, just because I don't like watching horror doesn't mean I don't like a challenge. So, as a writer, I like a challenge. So I certainly put horror in there. But I balance any horror I do, any drama I do, I balance it with humor. That's incredibly important to me. Actual heart as well. So heart and humor can exist alongside horror. That's fine. I can shock, but I don't want to dwell on it. I don't want to dwell on a big angsty book full of sad things happening and people just grimacing all the way through. There's got to be jokes.
I understand. Well, and again, I'll tell you, I guess I was really leaning on more the hardship of DCeaced rather than any of the humor in DCeaced and stuff like that. So
yeah, well, that's fine. It's the page where Superman says in the first one where Superman says goodbye to his family. There's 2 pages there, and I think they took me 2 days to write just those 2 pages.
Wow!
Because I only had 2 pages to write it. I'd run out of room either side, so I had to hit everybody right in the feels. But I'm a big fan of doing that. And Trevor Hairsine just
Another
crushed
good,
it.
yes, another great artist that can convey acting. Absolutely.
Right.
Oh, dude, with Cal's tears in his eyes as he's telling John, "You're our future," and it's
That's
oh
right.
my god, dude! I'm telling you, not since I was a kid and read the imaginary story where Superman dies on that Luthor science table with the kryptonite beam, and Supergirl takes over, and there's that ghost of Superman that waves to her at the end of the story. I remember being choked up about that. So yeah, man, no, it was a good emotional moment. You hit the beat really well.
And it was one of those things that you describe this to these artists. All my favorite artists are ones that can have characters acting like that. And there was one scene where he basically had to smile at him through tears and say, you're the future, you'll be the hero from now on. And he says, no pressure, no pressure. And he smiles, but he smiles with these tears in his eyes. And Trevor nailed it. He just nailed it.
Yeah.
It's exactly.
And Trevor, by the way, Trevor's in your panel. The two of you are doing the panel on Mainframe. I'm glad you mentioned Trevor. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's terrific too. Yeah. No, man. Well, and also I would imagine when you said that humor along with horror and stuff like that, were you a Buffy and Angel fan?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I steered further towards Angel towards the end when it got really good. But that's that kind of model of humor and heart. I'm a huge West Wing fan. I will tell you that.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, that's my favorite TV show of all time, and that balances drama and comedy really, really, really well, and earnestness as well, and inspiration. This is the stuff that I like. I love Parks and Recreation for the same reason. I like things with a sense of duty and honor with jokes, and superheroes do that to a T.
I swear to God, this weekend I finally broke down because I want to see what's it called again? Solar Opposites, the new sci-fi comedy. I bought Hulu finally, and I was watching Angel all weekend long, mostly season 3 when Connor is a baby and stuff. And then I swear to God, Tom, an hour before we were talking, I was watching West Wing season 6.
Right.
And the president goes to China when his MS kicks in and he's paralyzed and stuff.
Yeah, so carried off the plane. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. So no, man, I'm not. Again, this is why we're friends. I'm not surprised that we like a lot of the same stuff. This is great.
Yeah. And look, and I come from theater too, so dialogue is king. So your Sorkin and your Mamet and these people, of course, have been people that are always in my ear.
I totally agree, and it's funny because Bendis is another big Mamet guy and Sorkin guy for that matter. So that doesn't surprise me. Absolutely. So have you seen anything lately that really stuck out as far as while we're all stuck? Any fun streaming things that you've seen as far as new stuff or old stuff?
High Fidelity, despite being announced that it's been cancelled this week, High Fidelity is wonderful. Just beautiful. Great characters, great sense of humor, great representation, just all around wonderful. Complicated, with a lovely heart behind it. So I'm very sad to see that go. And a lot of people just think it's the movie, and I thought it was just going to be like the movie, and the first episode largely is, and then it turns into something much lovelier.
That's great to hear because I haven't sat down with it yet. I will. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, my wife and I binge that, and I don't watch anything. I don't binge anything. Like everything is a struggle because I feel like I should be working. But the two of us, we watched that whole show the whole series over about 3 nights. And we never do that together. We have very different tastes.
That's cool. Are you a Star Trek guy at all?
I am a bit, and I watched Lower Decks last night with my kids. The 10-year-old was a bit shocked. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
The cartoon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it. I thought it was it's the best thing CBS has made so far. Yeah. And I just feel I gotta say I'm kind of a comedy snob, and I just think it should be funnier. I think.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it was a lot of that shock humor, and obviously very Rick and Morty inspired. But
and I love Rick and Morty.
I understand why.
Oh no, and I expected it to be a PG-13 show, and that's fine. Yeah. And truly, from a design standpoint, I'm so glad that it's leaning more into recognizable Star Trek as opposed to trying to be different and new. And there's always potential, and this guy McMahon is clearly a big Star Trek fan. So I'm rooting for it to be better. But yeah, I just thought for a first episode, it was okay. But I just I just want it to be funnier. When they're fast and loud, I always feel like that's covering up bad jokes. And just seeing people high five or fist bump each other, you got that right? Okay. I'm like, yeah, that's not funny. I'm like, it's a lot of attitude, but it's not really funny per se, at least in my book. And also having decades of really funny Star Trek parodies, I'm like, this show should be funnier. But I'm in, and I look forward every week, and I'm glad we have new Star Trek. Even the shows that frustrate me, even Picard, it frustrated the hell out of me. I'm glad that we've got new Star Trek. I'm glad Patrick Stewart's out there. Please give me more. So,
yeah. Have you seen Central Park yet?
No.
Okay, watch Central Park. Central Park is lovely. It's on Apple.
I have Apple. Go on.
I'm paying for Apple simply so I have Central Park. I've now watched all of it though. But it's animated half hours by the people who did Bob's Burgers, and every episode is musical.
Funny.
I come from musical theatre, so I'm a little bit snobby when it comes to musicals, but it's got a beautiful heart. None of the humor is cruelty based. It's all very, very sweet with like great musical numbers. Usually about 3 songs per episode, 3 to 4 songs per ep, and really well done. Lots of big name writers have come on there, like lots of big name musicians. So you've got Cyndi Lauper writing on there, Fiona Apple, almost all women, and just really, really clever stuff.
That's amazing. No, I'll definitely check that out. I got Apple TV right away for All Mankind, the astronaut show.
Oh yeah,
and I loved it. I absolutely. Oh my god! I saw their Comic-Con panel, and it just makes me more excited for the second season coming up. So yeah, I'm a sucker for any Apollo stuff. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
So even do you remember the movie with Sam? Was it Sam? Not Sam Elliott. The Australian, the movie The Dish.
Oh yeah, The Dish with Sam Neill. Yeah.
Sam Neill. Thank you. Yes, man, I love that movie. That's a fantastic movie.
Random piece of information. The Dish. That's what's called. So the actual dish from that at Parks was heritage listed today, I think. So that dish will be there forever.
That's fantastic. That's amazing. And yet, for people who haven't seen the movie, it's all about the Apollo 11 mission. And when, the Earth is rotating, and when Cape Canaveral couldn't monitor how the ship was progressing towards the moon, Parks would take over in Australia, and in the middle of this kind of sheep farming country, this incredible dish. And yes, Sam Neill is the whole cast, top to bottom, it's a very sweet comedy, but it's based on real history, and it's an amazing story. It's a fantastic story. So when that movie came out, I saw it in the theater. I love that movie. Absolutely.
Yeah. So it'll make you cry, but it's in a beautiful way. It's very funny, very sweet, very Australian, but not too patronizing way.
That's good. We like Australia. That's all right. That's outstanding. Well, dude, as always, congratulations. I am so excited for the Marvel series next year, and what you're currently doing with DC is great. And Seven Secrets, I can't promote it enough in terms of, and I'm so glad that it's already found its audience that is very eager to enjoy it. Having seen the first 2 issues, you will not be disappointed. And I'm certainly hoping that people will check it out. And if they miss the opportunity to pre-order that first issue, second printings are coming.
That's right. Yep. Start of September, the second printing will be out. The Dan Mora cover. He's brilliant. My kid's very excited because he did a background on Fortnite. So I'm basically a celebrity because Dan Mora is doing a variant cover for this.
That's outstanding. That's fantastic, man. Jesus. No, that's seriously, man, as always, all the best. And thank you and Trevor for what you guys are going to do this weekend for Mainframe Comic-Con. And that's going to be a terrific panel among other amazing ones. And like I said, I unfortunately, I don't think I'm moderating. And that's why I'm like, hey, I'm the one who helped get him to come on, man. I'm like, that's the least you could do. But they got me busy.
Justice League one?
What's that?
Do you get to do the Justice League one?
I get to do the Justice League one. I'm doing a Superman writers panel of writers from the 70s. It starts with Elliot Maggin. I mean, they'll all be on at the same time. Elliot Maggin, Paul Kupperberg, Jerry Ordway, and Dan Jurgens.
Wow.
So that's 50 years of Superman writing. That's not too bad.
That's brilliant. That's awesome.
So yeah, I'm excited about that, and a few other ones that are going to be fun, and some spotlights here. Talking to Zdarsky for an hour. I had to give up Rucka and Leo Fernandez because they're like, oh, this one of the Collider hosts really want to do it, and I'm like, all right, I've talked to Greg like 3 times in the last 2 months. I go, yeah, that's okay. I don't mind. It's all right. Yeah. So hey, please come back, obviously, and I know you're busy as hell, Tom. You know that, but truly,
that's always fun.
All right, excellent. Stick around as I wrap up the broadcast because I do want to tell you something off the air, and it won't be long. But thank you very much.
People. Yeah.
What's that?
The secrets John has won.
Just a couple secrets that I got to share with you and see if you'd be willing to be in on them and stuff. Okay. So, as always, man, no, I appreciate it. Keep your family safe and healthy, and all the best as always. So, thank you very much.
See you later.
Tom Taylor, everybody, and I appreciate that. And I'm going to talk to him off the air in just a second. As we wrap up, as I always say, stay safe,